Thank you so much for doing this. Super excited.
Thank you. I've been looking forward to it.
Very cool. Yeah. So our podcast is all about you, man, your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool, cool. I did read from Switzerland.
Sweden.
Sweden. Sorry, my
Yeah.
bad. Let's start that again.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Thank you so much for doing this. So I did read you're from Sweden. Tell me what
That's
that's
correct.
like. All right, cool, man.
I wish
What's
I would
that
have
like?
said Switzerland there. That would be really funny. I'm sorry. Uh,
What part of
yeah,
Sweden?
I'm from Sweden. Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty good place for music, I think. There's a really lively music export scene and like music from Sweden. That's quite powerful, I think. So quite happy and lucky to be born here.
What part are you from? Like, pretty like. Are you from like the capital? Like, are you from where the music is going on? Like, tell me whereabouts in Sweden you're from.
I'm from a place called Gothenburg, which is the second largest city in Sweden. So I've been living in Stockholm, the capital, as well. But right now I'm here. I'm born and raised here in Gothenburg.
Very cool. I mean, you have like Max Martin. Like, so much music comes out of there. That's why I was curious.
Yeah, it's really, really weird.
Very cool, man. Well, so how did you get into music originally?
From the beginning, I think I was like a big music fan from when I was really, really small. Like my first favorite band was the Smiths.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, my brother got me into them, and there was like Pixies and Smashing Pumpkins and stuff, which are some artists and bands that I'm still so inspired by.
Sure.
Some things never just leave you. And well, I got into it like playing guitar pretty early and writing my own stuff. I wrote this song when I was 8 years old called Dark Blue, which was about a nightmare.
Wow.
This guy that kind of followed me, and his name was Dark Blue. And
Wow. 8 years old?
yeah, yeah.
Oh
But
my gosh.
but I didn't get like, so I always had that kind of creative spirit, I think. But I was probably around 15 or something when I started, practicing properly, and um, like I started playing jazz for a while during my high school years, and yeah, it's been like a steady stream of metamorphosis that has led me to where I am.
Wow. At 8, were you playing guitar at that point?
I started playing guitar very early,
Okay. How old were you when you started playing guitar?
probably 8 or something.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I started like learning a few chords and stuff, but I didn't get my like I didn't start practicing until much later.
Oh, okay.
When you've played the chords that like 4 million times, you want to learn a fifth one. So
Well, wow. So was Dark Blue like a full on, music and everything song?
no, I think it was like a really short song. I think it went like Dark Blue is dead. It's a night of rage. Dark Blue is dead. It's a night of rage. And and then four more lines that I can't remember now.
Right on.
A really short song. But I
There you
remember it
go.
very clearly. So I had
Yeah,
this really,
obviously you still remember some of the lyrics. That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
When you said high school is when you start really kind of taking it more seriously? Like, how old were you when you started playing guitar more?
Yeah, maybe it's like a year before high school that I like started taking it seriously. I was really into punk rock and stuff at the time, which is
Mhm.
not like the genre you would normally look at for serious musicians, maybe, but that kind
Sure.
of got me into. Um, I wanted to write good songs because it was so amazing how like bands like Blink-182 that I love, they had these four chords and they could write a million songs, and I couldn't, so I wanted to learn that. And then like when I started high school, I had some music teachers and stuff, and that kind of um, depth into the knowledge of what goes into the making of these songs.
Got it.
Came
Wow.
about.
You said jazz for in high school? Wow, that's like pretty complicated though, right?
Yeah, I was really into that for a while, like jazz fusion stuff. I love Django Reinhardt, like old jazz guitarist. I was really dead set on being a super good jazz player, so that was my goal for a couple of years there. And yeah,
Wow. So you were in the school band as a guitar player?
Yeah, I went to music school.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
yeah,
Tell me about that a little bit.
it was really great. I got to I went from being this super um, outcast, I guess, loner type in my school I was to prior, elementary school or whatever
Mhm.
you call it. We have slightly different systems, I think.
Sure.
Um, I had long hair and I painted my nails and stuff, so I wasn't really like the jock of the football team or something.
Right.
Then I started this music school, and like everything that had set me apart kind of was like, well, that's pretty cool about you, you know. So it was really quite a lot of good things happened then, and I gained like self confidence slightly in who
Sure.
I was.
Where did you have to audition to get into the school, or was it kind of like, oh,
Yeah, it was audition based,
oh,
so
wow.
I practiced
Talk
my
to me
ass
about
off.
that. Yeah. Did you have to audition for, did you go in as a guitar player?
Yeah, guitar player, and then I had like
Wow.
vocals as my secondary instrument.
What was the process like to get in? Do you remember?
Yeah, I played 3 songs and I sang as well. So I think I played "Stay Together for Their Kids" by Blink 182.
Blink? Okay.
I improvised, and I think I played "Bad Things," the True Blood theme song. I taught myself that, so I sang and played it, and played the solo and stuff. And it was one more song. I don't remember. Probably something by All Time Low or something. Pop
Oh,
punk.
cool.
Like that. Yeah.
That's rad. And then they obviously let you in, and then you joined
Yeah,
the
yeah,
jazz
they
band.
did. Yeah, some other musicians that were better, but I think they liked the fact that I wasn't like guitar or vocals. I kind of could do both and wanted
Sure.
to
Okay.
get
And
into.
then when you got there, did you start a band, or like now you're around people that all play music?
Yeah, yeah. So I started my first band second year. We did like indie pop, because the Smiths have been such a big influence on me, and indie bands that came after like. Well, Pixies and
Mhm.
Bombay Bicycle Club I loved for a while, and an Unmortal Orchestra, so
Okay.
stuff like that. So I had this
Yeah.
like guitar indie band back then with my first girlfriend, actually.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So I started my first band. We started playing some shows, and yeah, that was kind of my first encounter
What
with
were
that.
those? Yeah. What were those first shows? Were you guys just booking like local? I mean, obviously local, but were tell me like what those were like.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of strange things started happening in my life at this time because I went from being, as I said, this outcast type into being like, pretty popular or whatever you would call it. So I
Yeah.
started working as a promoter for a nightclub at 17.
Wow.
Yeah. So I played there for a few times with my band. Um,
But you
so
were booking bands and trying to promote shows at the venue.
yeah, kind of. I was helping with the booking. I just think like in retrospect, I think the guy who ran the club he thought it was pretty cool that I was this super young kid that loved music as well and looked up to him a little bit. So he kind of enjoyed having me around.
Hmm. Wow, that's cool. And gave you a job. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, then what's next for you? I mean, that band, what fizzles out, or you guys break up or something?
yeah, exactly. That's what.
Okay. And when does Boy Destroy start? Fairly quickly after that, or was this a project that was more recent?
No, that was like quite a few years ago. So after that, I think I dabbled a little bit. I had some projects that really didn't go anywhere, and like what I wrote my first EP about is like I felt like gradually I got into like heavy addiction and stuff, and I started
Mm,
drinking more and more, and stuff that really started at working in the club life, kind of. So
sure. I mean, it's easy to get wrapped up in that.
yeah, and especially if you've been kind of an outcast all your life, and all of a sudden you're a person in some kind of status with
Right,
some kind
right.
of status among people. So yeah, so I had I moved to Stockholm to make it as a musician, but I mostly just did stupid stuff.
Okay, got you.
And, and after that, I moved home to Gothenburg to become sober,
Okay.
and that was kind of when that took a year to get sober.
Yeah, congratulations. I've
But
got
thank you.
4 years on.
Do you have 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
That's really cool, man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I understand the the difficulty there. So
Yeah.
congratulations on that, man. Very
Thank you
cool.
very much. Thank you. Oh, so that kind of happened there as I moved back to Gothenburg, and I started to well, I've been so locked up all my life. I'd never talked about these things, and I never talked about my feelings. And
Hmm.
then I kind of started living in recovery, and I started hanging out with other sober people, and I started talking about that shit, and that kind of became my EP. You know,
Oh,
at
so
first.
this new record is kind of about that.
Totally, 100%. So I kind of wrote about all these things that I kept locked up for so long.
Isn't it amazing how like when you're in it, like you just like numb out all those feelings, and then like when you're you're like I love that you just said you start feeling feelings like
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's like so bizarre.
Yeah, it was really unusual, at first. Like, I'm scared right now, so my instinct is always, well, then I should not be
Do
scared.
something.
Yeah,
Right,
I
right. Do
should,
something that makes you not scared anymore.
yeah, I know how to stop that, for a
Right.
little while, but
Uh-huh.
uh, it's not always pleasant now, and I'm not always like Mr.
Sure.
Happy-go-lucky, but I have these tools to kind of manage my feelings now, and um, it's a process. I hopefully I get a little bit better every day, and
Yeah, that's all you can hope for, right?
yeah, that's a
I
good
mean,
life.
wow. So tell me about the EP then. So when do you start writing the EP? Like how, I mean, you just released it this
Yeah,
year. I mean,
yeah.
last month, right? It's only been out for a couple weeks. But where were you? Were you in the sober living when like the pandemic hit? And like how quickly after that did you start writing this record? Like tell me timeline wise where this all
Uh,
kind of.
Like, I think kind of the like one or two other songs are written when I was still kind of in totally within it, and I couldn't like see
Mhm.
straight, so I kind of had to get some words out. But a song like Warpaint, that's written when everything was really fresh, kind of in the beginning of the pandemic, or at least like the kernel that became Warpaint later, but those lyrics was kind of unlocked the entire EP for me, because I realized that I could talk about these things, and that was more interesting than whatever egotistical lies I could dream up.
Sure.
Kind of.
So Warpaint was the first song that you wrote that kind of set the tone for the album or the
Yeah,
EP.
because I kind of showed myself and others that I could like be honest and talk about these things, and it wasn't as bad as maybe I'd imagined, but it was still scary as hell, and it's still
Hmm.
scary, But
Sure. I mean, you're being super vulnerable. Now you're sharing all these feelings that you didn't want to even have in the beginning, right? Now you're
yeah,
sharing them with everybody.
yeah.
Was it what did you like what was it like to just release the first song and be like, "Okay, let's see what this does."
First song really was the scariest because
Uh-huh.
I, yeah, because yeah, it really was the scariest by far, just because I hadn't, well, since I kind of tried to get away from that life. There's so many people that I haven't, well, a lot of people that I have talked to and that are happy I'm doing better, but a lot of people that still aren't like uh, happy about the road I took.
Really?
Yeah, because
There's some haters?
yeah, because it kind of mirrors themselves. I think is if they see it's like, if I acknowledge that I have a problem, then
Oh, they have
by
to acknowledge
definition
they
they must
do.
have as well, and they can't admit that.
Sure.
So then it's like,
That's
you
interesting.
don't
I
have
didn't
a problem and you're lying, like, basically.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because now they're seeing you and
yeah,
you doing great and not partaking what they're still doing. And
yeah,
it's like, well, he doesn't really have that big of a problem. Like, what's his deal? Because
yeah,
they're not looking in the mirror at themselves. It's interesting.
yeah. So that was something I've kind of experienced a little bit, but mostly I've just been really lucky about all those things, I think, because the amount of love I've received for this EP has been incredible, and I feel blessed beyond belief.
I love that. When did you was like when you wrote Warpaint, was that and started the, you said that kind of set the tone for the record. Were you Boy Destroy at that point, or did you start this whole project kind of at the same time?
I wasn't like, no, because I think that song was really when I started like writing and talking about these things. In some way, had still the idea that maybe it fit some past project that I'd worked on, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as that song progressed, and it felt like this is like nothing else I've ever done because it's influenced by all these things that are me, like alternative rock and grunge and hip hop and punk and pop punk and stuff like that, which is so far from everything I've done before. Plus, it's super honest. So that was kind of a gradual thing that as this Warpaint and then the other songs took place, it felt like it was such a rebirth, like musically, and it had
Mm-hmm.
to be a rebirth in every sense of the word, kind of.
Yeah, that makes I mean, sure, that makes a lot of sense. Now you have this new outlook on life, new kind of persona, so to speak, and a new. You got all the songs out there. I mean, the one that's really big on Spotify I'm looking at is "You Don't Want Me When I'm Sober," which is an
Yeah.
interesting. I'm sure that was a difficult song to write
Yeah.
and have it be the most streamed one on the record. That must have been pretty validating.
Yeah, definitely. That's like for me, that's like a really angry song because it's, as I was saying before, it's really directed towards the people that I kind of felt turned their backs on me when I tried to do better and be better. But in all fairness, I think I turned my back on them a little bit as well because I had to distance myself. And
Well, you had to, right?
yeah, I kind of
I
had to.
mean, that's one of the first things they teach you is to kind of cut the ties
Yeah, yeah,
with all the toxic, all the people that are still partaking in that, because all they're going to do is pull you back into it.
yeah.
Wow. Well, congratulations, man. Again, that's
Thank you so
huge.
much. Yeah.
Um, so now you're in the pandemic. That must have been not only did you just start, kind of starting with that new life as far as like sober living and stuff. Now you're stuck inside it in the pandemic. That didn't sure. I'm sure that didn't like make it any easier on you.
No, because I want to say yes and no because the whole live thing has always been like half of being a musician, at least in my head. Playing shows and
Mm-hmm.
booking shows and stuff like that. But that's been really well. There's nothing,
Right.
so so that's left me with a huge amount of time. And luckily for me, the guys that I made this EP with, the producers and the guys I wrote it, the music with, uh, they live quite close to where I live. So I've had a huge amount of time to just sit in the studio with them and create new stuff. Um, so it's kind of a double bladed sword.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm thinking too, like, but just being alone with your thoughts, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
now you don't have like the escape to go do something outside or to kind
yeah,
of take your mind off of it all. You're just now you're at home, like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? Like I've talked to a lot of people that were like, well, now that I'm inside, like all I want to do is, drink or do this or that.
yeah, yeah. Now, for me at least, it's been pretty good. I try to meditate and I try to stay present. And I have a great girlfriend who I live with, who's my best friend.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah,
Very cool. She's a good advocate for you.
yeah, yeah.
So now, well, I mean, you just released a record, like we said a couple weeks ago. Was that a hard decision to make during this pandemic, or was there a thought of like, let's wait a little bit because maybe we'll be able to play these songs out, or was it just let's just get it out there?
I think it was more like let's just get it out there kind of thing, because nobody knows how long the pandemic will last, and maybe we won't survive it.
Right.
Pretty dark, but I mean, like,
Sure.
we're all gonna die, man.
At some point.
At some point, that's the truth, though. But I mean, yeah. So I think it just kind of fitted with the whole thing as well. People are struggling even in a million ways. And the EP
Sure.
is kind of about pushing through that and finding strength. And not only, but it has elements of that. And yeah, it's felt like a pretty good time to release it.
Love it. What about like how are you guys on the pandemic as far as like lockdown? You guys still pretty stuck? I know here in the States, some things are starting to open up and like festivals are being booked
Yeah,
for like the fall. So I don't know where you guys are at as far as that goes.
not like, I don't think festivals and stuff are being booked for like next summer, I think. So we're a bit behind maybe. I think
Okay.
Sweden's been really open generally, but
Oh,
right
okay.
now we have like a huge amount of infected, so I'm not sure how
Oh, your numbers
good
are going back
that.
up?
Yeah, I think so. I don't keep that updated more than what I hear here and there,
Right.
but yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully things will open up more sooner than later, and then you'll be able to get out and play these songs. I did see that you go on your Instagram pretty frequently, right, and play.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you enjoy
actually,
that?
I really like that because I love music. So I love playing different kinds of music, and it's uh, it's what I do. So why not like put a camera up and hopefully someone will enjoy it.
Yeah. Is it fun to do those things? I mean, I'm sure it was probably pretty weird the first time you did
A little bit weird, yeah, but
it.
it's kind of what being an artist today is. I think you that is kind of expected of you, and I don't have that much of a problem with it.
That's good.
Uh,
Kind of have to adapt to what you can do, right?
yeah, kind of. I wouldn't go on TikTok and do dances and stuff, but
You
uh,
won't?
I can play covers, because I do that every day.
Oh, you
Without,
do a cover every day?
not every day, but I mean,
Pretty
like
often.
almost every day I sit down and try to play some song. So I might as well put a camera up and film it.
I love that. What have you been trying to learn recently?
There's always something different, but I've been gone back to some like Jeff Buckley songs that I haven't
Okay.
played for many, many years, like Lover You Should Have Come Over. I never properly learned that. It's got so many beautiful chord changes,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been playing that a little bit, and like Disarm with Smashing
Oh,
Pumpkins.
that's my
Like,
favorite Smashing Pumpkins song. That's
really,
such a
I
beautiful
love that.
song.
Yeah, I
Oh
love
man, yeah, that's such a great. I mean, if you just strip back and like lyrically and melodically, that's my favorite song that Billy Corgan's ever wrote.
very much same. But he's done a few really great ones. Yeah, he's done a lot of
Oh,
great
he's
ones.
done a lot of really great ones, but that one just, even though it was
Must
like
be
a
the
big
best.
hit, like that song still to me is the best Smashing Pumpkin song.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Like the whole, like the instrumentation and everything. It's so
Uh,
stripped back, but still so like powerful when it kicks. And
mm-hmm.
it's a very good song.
I love it. Very cool. Thank you so much, man, for taking time and hanging out with me and chatting with me today.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I do have one more question for you. Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
Mm, at least for me, I was always looking for like an easy way, like a hack and like a glitch in the matrix that I could push through, so I wouldn't have to practice so hard. But I think uh, the advice that I wish I would have gotten, that I'm sure I did get told a million times, is like that there are no shortcuts. There never was. Like 1 in a billion is a Bieber who's born with the voice of an angel. But most of us aren't, and we can still reach real heights, but we have to work really hard to get there.